Good morning, everybody. How are we doing? Sammy, United People's TV. We're here at 10:04, and it always cracks me up. It must mean there's some new faces in town, because there's always someone like, "You're late, Sam. You're late. What are you doing? You're late. How dare you be late?" It just cracks me up every morning. I have a little giggle to myself before the show, but I managed to not compose myself before we went live. Look, going to run through all the latest Manchester United news and transfer news. You know the drill by now. We're going to speak about Amorim's new striker plans. Yeah, I'm not surprised if they're going to be delayed. And there's an important question I want to ask you around that. I think I know what the answer is going to be, but I want to present it to you. We're going to speak about multiple loan deals that United are lining up. Kind of silence that there really exists around Garnacho and Sancho. Rashford got announced by Barcelona yesterday. We'll run through some more tour stuff, and you will let me know what you want to talk about in the chat. So make sure you get involved, fire any comments, and I'll try and involve as many of you as I possibly can. Now, let's say hello to everyone. And let's go. You're looking younger. Oh, fresh shave. Come on. Took me ages to get the bloody haircut, but, we got it in the end. Good morning to you, Alex. Good morning to you. Ant, you're there as well. Steph, good morning to you. We've got Edward. We've got David Collette. We've got Adrian. We've got someone who I saw at the start of the show, Neville, who's sitting there in Turkey. I'm sitting there on the sun lounge, just 38 degrees. Give me a shout out. Not what I just did. How dare you be on holiday? I want to be on holiday. Paul, Richard, good morning to you. Teresa, we got Stoogie J, we got Paul, got lots of new faces, lots of regular faces. Let's talk about Sam's fresh fade. My head looks like pale as anything when you have a fade. Anyway, it's my default haircut, right? You don't change haircuts, do you? You just stick to it. Okay, yeah, usual. Come on. And you also don't change barbers. I went to a wedding the other week. I found out, this blew my mind, found out that on the morning, because it was up in Manchester, on the morning of the wedding, the groom got his hair cut by a barber for the first time. And I was like, no. It's the worst idea I've ever heard in my entire life. I think it all went well. Well, he was basically bald, so not much to cut. Anyway, I was a bit confused about that. Now, let's run through the news. Look, Alexander Isak may well be injured. Like, you know what I like to do at the start of the show? I like to talk about news that's not always about United, just like the wider world of football transfers. Alexander Isak might be injured. But I swear to God, I will absolutely crack up if Isak ends up going to Saudi and Newcastle miss out on basically every single signing. Nope, something to do with United. Little David Ornstein exclusive. Got my notifications on. Who's that? Aston Villa submit offer to sign JD Canvo from Toulouse. Exciting. Yeah, at least he's not going to Liverpool. They announced Hugo Ekitike. Man, the amount of money that Liverpool are spending this summer. Sickening. Anyway, it would just crack me up if they miss out on like Mbumo, on Cunha, on Trafford, on like basically every target they're going for, and then their main man that they said was not for sale ends up leaving them. It's not a good look. Even if it is just an injury, it's not a good look for them. I tell ye that. And I'm looking at this going, another one. And I think we had this chat the other day, and it was about Javi Simmons, wasn't it? And I was like, at what point do players look at Chelsea and go, I probably shouldn't join that team if I want prospects of actually playing a game? Like, at what point does that happen? I can't understand it. If you're looking at the people mention this, they're saying like, move to Chelsea for the, where you live in and the money and probably the length of the contract. I imagine is a big part of it as well. The security behind that. But it's crazy. It's crazy. Hato is a sort of very, very highly rated prospect. I got no idea. Jonathan, you're saying Chelsea just buy and pick a mix at this point. Well, it's nuts, isn't it? It's absolutely nuts. Anyway, let's get on with the show and let's have a little look at Brian Mbeumo's first training session. Why not? I'm excited about him. You're excited about him. I'll tell you what we've got coming on Saturday. Another edited video, which you all seem to be enjoying, and they're my favourite to do. I like the live shows and the higher quality videos. They're my two favourite things to do on this channel. Video going out on Saturday, we're taking a look specifically at Cunha and Mbeumo and diving into the numbers and kind of looking at exactly what they're going to bring to the team. The goal-creating actions that they're going to do, the shots, the driving runs that they do. How do they compare to the players that we've already got in this team? How much better are they? Where do we still? How do they differ? I think that's an important one as well, to understand the profiles of Cunha and Mbeumo and how they're different and how they also complement each other. So that's going to be going out on Saturday. I'm excited to see him play in the United shirt. I'm guessing we'll see his debut against... Is it West Ham we play? Damn, there's a fly in this room. What the I hate flies, right? Real recognise real saying you haven't watched yesterday's yet. Well, you bloody better get on that. Because it is tip-top, if I do say so myself. Maino, you're saying Chelsea keep stockpiling. It's pathetic. The players must see it differently, man. The players can't see it as just stockpiling. They must see it as a genuine pathway and opportunity for them. That's just, I don't know. At some point it has to stop. You think so, but I would have thought that a good old while ago, right? But yeah, mentioning it there, I just want to say a big thank you to everybody who watched that yesterday, who left a comment, and who dropped a like on the video, because it makes a big difference. Now, something that we did different yesterday with that video, typically we've done the United People's Productions and we've released them at 7 p.m. Now, you all know that the main release time for this channel is lunchtime. That's why I'm always there Monday to Friday at lunchtime. We dropped this one at lunchtime yesterday. And I think we've realized that that's actually the best time to do the videos that we're most proud of. Because that's the time where the community, all of you guys and girls, are most used to seeing our videos. So probably from now on, we'll end up releasing the United People's Productions videos in the standard lunchtime slot. Anyway, I love that one. I loved it. Yeah. It's probably one of my favorite intros that's been done. Not only because we were using New Order, but yeah. If you haven't watched the video, it's about signing Premier League proven players, how Fergie used to do it a lot. And I've seen, there's one thing I want to say here about the video, and then move on to all the news, right? I've seen some comments saying, oh, hold on, Sam, here, you're forgetting about Mata, you're forgetting about Fellaini, you're forgetting about Schneiderlin. Schneiderlin, I think, is a fair one. But the Mata and Fellaini, the idea that we were signing Premier League experience before, like, do you want me to remind you why and how we signed Mata and Fellaini? The only reason we signed Fellaini is because we didn't sign Fabregas, who we were chasing all summer. And we signed Fellaini for more than the release clause that expired about a week before. That's how, I'm pretty sure it was a deadline day. Was it deadline day? Right, either deadline day or the day before. That's when we signed Fellaini. You know when we signed Juan Mata? We signed Juan Mata because everything was going absolutely catastrophic for David Moyes, and it was a January Hail Mary punt to try and bring him someone in from the Premier League, and it wasn't exactly part of any sort of strategy. But that's what this is. That's what Mbeumo is. That's what Cunha is. A strategy. And United do want I reckon United want a Premier League proven striker. It's kind of why we went after Delap. We'll speak about Watkins next. But there's this got announced yesterday. Right? It's a bit loud.
Yeah. You can tell them now. It's official. Let's do this. Visca El Barça.
So we knew it was coming, and it got confirmed yesterday. Marcus Rashford has joined Barcelona on a season-long loan. United confirmed it. Barca confirmed it. He's joined. He's got the number 14 shirt, and they have a buy option, and it is Is it 30 million euros? I think it's 30 million euros. All the contrasting numbers. I'm pretty sure that Laurie Whitwell from The Athletic has said 30 million euros. Now, I'm opening up the floor, right? I can see down here, man, a lot of you aren't happy. Well, a lot of you just going straight angry, really. I think the way that, first thing, I'm glad that it's over. Yeah, 14 was Henry's old number. I'm glad that it's over. But, mate, I wish him all the best. I'm just speaking from my own perspective here. I know that that's not going to be an opinion that all United fans share, and for a lot of you, it was sort of toxic, and it kind of reached the point of poisonous towards the end. Just go and nail it there. I've said this to you before, and I'll say it again. I'm going to say this so many times this season. Don't be coming at me with videos of Rashford scoring a goal or doing something good for Barcelona and expect me to be annoyed about it. I won't be. I really am just like, anybody who doesn't play for the club, that's it. I'm disassociated completely. I'm glad that he's gone to Barcelona, so I don't have to watch anything about him in the Premier League highlights, because I'm not going to be watching the Liga highlights next season. Kai is saying, glad he's away from the club, but I still want him to do well. Ibuka saying, I'm glad Rashford is gone, but he's handled himself well in all of it. I'll be honest, I don't think, really, I don't really think this whole thing's been handled well at all. He did not want to go Villa. In any way, shape or form. He's even said, yeah, I wanted to join Barcelona in January, but, that didn't happen. He just, trudged himself down the road, stayed at home, commuted to work, and just spent a few months at Villa. It's not been handled well at all. I think Barca are going to be signing, man. I think he's going to have a good enough season that they're going to execute the option and sign him. And kind of that's it, right? Kevin saying, Rashford's time at United was over, but I wish him all the best. He's not a bad guy, just too many bad advisors. Yeah. To a certain degree, and I suppose this is where I do think he has, well, you could say has a right advice around him, because he's got his move to Barcelona, which is ultimately what he wanted, but that's not ultimately what he wanted. What Rashford wanted to do was win the treble in a Manchester United shirt wearing the captain's armband. That's what he wanted. But second to that was Barcelona. It's an interesting one. Let's go for a little bit of live update. Right, we're speaking about midfielders now. We're going to be moving on to speak about strikers next. Actually, no, we're going to speak about Melty McMeltis, I think. But 10 seconds ago here from Fabrizio Romano. That's why we do live shows, people. You get the latest stuff. Come on. Douglas Luiz did not show up for pre-season training at Juve today. Juve are set to take disciplinary measures, with Douglas Luiz expected to leave the club this summer. I really do think this is an opportunity. I said it a while ago. I'm not saying this in reaction to Douglas Luiz not turning up for training. In a summer where I don't think we're going to be able to spend a massive amounts of money, I genuinely feel that there's an opportunity here for us to get Douglas Luiz on loan. To simply take his wages off the books of Juve, I think would be something that they would be interested in. So I think there's even a possibility that United could get Douglas Luiz and sign someone else. Although Albana there with kind of a fair point. You know how we've been complimenting Brian Mbeumo for how professional he remained. He's frustrated. It took 6 weeks for the negotiations to go through, but he didn't do anything. He didn't really step out of line. He never said anything against the club, and he eventually got the move. This is Douglas Luiz forcing the issue. People are saying straight swap for Sancho. If it's anything to do with Sancho, I imagine they're separate deals, because that way you get more benefit on PSR in terms of the accounts. Maybe for a few of you, that'll be a red flag. Him not showing up for pre-season training. Don't know. Let's see what goes on there. That's just an interesting one. That's just dropped. Now let's speak about these two. And I don't know how many times, right, Fabrizio Romano can say the exact same thing with absolutely no update. Garnacho wants a Premier League move. Chelsea remain attentive. That's a new one. No talks. Garnacho wants a Premier League move. Garnacho wants to stay in the Premier League. The Premier League is where Garnacho wants to remain. Garnacho has thought about it and would very much like to stay in the Premier League. Garnacho's considered his options and wants to stay in the Prem. I don't know. It's like the exact same thing that keeps getting said, but no one's moving for him. I know you can come at me talking about Garnacho's attitude and stuff like that, but we've got an emotional connection to that because it's happened to our football club and we watched it in real time. Fans of other clubs and other clubs won't have as much connection to it. They'll just say, they'll look at a player and go, well, you know, just because it's not worked there doesn't mean it won't work here. I'm just surprised. I'm not surprised about Sancho. I'm not surprised. The Rashford one kind of went quicker. But I am surprised there's not been any interest in Garnacho, and it might be the price. It may well be the fact that United had outpriced him. Does anyone know what's gone on with Napoli and replacing Kvaratskhelia? I haven't actually seen if they've signed any players for that position. Of course, they came after Garnacho in January. We said no. I think they bid 40 mil. But I don't know what's gone on this summer. I can't remember any players that they were linked with. Anyway, just a whole load of nothing on Garnacho. Whole load of no movement. Chelsea, just give us the money, man. Right? And he's saying something that is not wanted has no value. Hey, look. I suppose what we're seeing right now is no one's biting United's hand off to sign Garnacho. So Napoli got Noah Lang. Right, okay. Remember Noah Lang? Jeez. I remember when Ten Hag came in, I remember doing a video sort of talking about how, was it Noah Lang spoke back to Eric Ten Hag and then got like booted out of the team and I think got booted out of the club. Jeez. And we were talking about how we needed that sort of discipline. I remember when Ten Hag came in, that was one of the big factors. It was like we need someone with discipline into a team which just, it's an absolute free-for-all. Didn't quite work out that. Adami, you're completely wrong there. You're saying you've got a feeling he might return to the team. Garnacho's coming nowhere near this squad again. Look, again, from a compromise perspective, there is a possibility that United end up loaning Garnacho. There's far more chance that United loan Garnacho next season to someone else than there is him coming back into the squad. It's just not going to happen, right? Oh, is it Ndoye? Is that the lad from, is it Bologna? I think Forest were in for him as well. I think Forest may have been in for him as a potential replacement for Elanga. And I think Napoli are in. You might be there. It may well be that Napoli's gone. Anyway, nothing on him and nothing on Melty. Sir Meltville. Juve retain a firm interest in Sancho. But yeah, we're going to have to sell 2 players before we consider making a move for you. Very much seemed like David Ornstein was bang on when he said that Sancho's not close to joining Juve, and Duncan Castles and a lot of the reports that were coming out of Italy. I was saying that most of them were whiffy, but there was actually quite a lot of noise. I think it was 2 weeks ago I said it feels like something's finally happening with Sancho because we saw the concept that A, he was willing to take a wage cut, which is an absolute necessity, and B, that United may well be willing to do the severance package using the money we got from Chelsea to sort of facilitate the move. Yes, we are poor at selling. That's indeed the truth. You know what I think about Garnacho. It's Villa or Chelsea. Please, one of those 2 things happen. And in terms of Villa, we may well be in talks with Villa when it comes to Ollie Watkins. Now, let's speak about the striker because that's the headline of today's show. And I know something you all want to talk about. Okay? I'm going to run through 2 articles, one from the Telegraph with James Ducker and one from Chris Wheeler from the Daily Mail, both kind of towing the exact same line. This sort of feels like they've got their sources in United and this is what they're being told, all right? Manchester United manager Ruben Amorim fears he could start the Premier League season without a new centre forward, all right? And number 9 was a priority. United assigned Cunha and Mbeumo. Obviously, we went after Delap. We don't know whether we would have signed Mbeumo. We may well have still done. But anyway, let's go down here. United are continuing to assess their options, but they need to raise funds to help facilitate moves for other targets, with Amorim also wanting that deep line midfielder and a goalkeeper, which we also know, right? So that's what the Telegraph is saying. And the Daily Mail, United are in danger of starting the season without a new striker, as they struggle to compete with their Premier League rivals. And that's more to do with the fact that Liverpool are signing Ekitike for, what was it, 80 mil? I don't even know. City didn't go after a striker. Arsenal got Gyökeres and we couldn't compete with the price of that one. Chelsea ended up getting Liam Delap because of Champions League football. And United are kind of left a little bit short. Now, I want you to let me know what you think, right, in the chat. Because, I mean, it's not a surprise. And again, I'm not saying this from a Captain Hindsight perspective. But it's not. We knew full well that United were going to have a fixed budget this summer. I mean, United have a fixed budget. Every club has a fixed budget every summer. But we knew that it probably wasn't going to go past Cunha and Mbeumo and that sales were going to be required. Now, there's a question I want to ask you here. Because this is when you pitch it like this is, in my opinion, it's a rhetorical question. But I want to know what you say, right? So there's 2 options, okay? 2 options here. Number 1, United go out right now and we just make sure that we have a new striker in before the first game of the season. Now, that could mean signing somebody on loan. That could mean, I don't know, United going out and just finding a really quite a relatively cheap striker. That's your first option, so that you definitely have a new striker for the first game of the season. Or would you rather United wait a little bit if that's what it takes to potentially sell Højlund or bring money in elsewhere and then be able to potentially sign someone like Watkins? So this is going to be, to quote Ratcliffe here, sometimes you walk to the right answer rather than run to the wrong one. It feels like that's where United are with a striker. I think we could probably go out now into the market. We could find someone like dead cheap. We could just bring a body in. And it might be someone that contributes, I don't even know, like 5, maybe 10 goals at a push. But what if United were then able to sell Højlund later in the window and then we go, well, balls, man, we shouldn't have done that earlier in the window because now we could have gone out and got someone who's a bit better. It's not ideal, but this is what happens when budgets are very much reliant on sales. Now, I would always prefer that United, because when it comes to cash, I think is going to be the stopper for this. I always think that summer budgets shouldn't ever be dependent on waiting for a sale to happen, because if you know that the sale is going to happen by the end of the window, then why don't you just spend the money up front, and then when you know the money is going to come back in later in the window, then it evens itself out. But to do that, you need to have the extra cash up front, the buffer, to allow you to do that. Alex, we've already had this argument yesterday. I don't think United will need 2 strikers if Højlund leaves. I don't think that at all. I think we need 1 striker. Then you've got Cheeto. And then if you need to, you've also got Mbeumo and you've got Cunha and you've got Xerxes. Yeah, there's no way we get 2. Would you give Højlund 1 last season or sell if United could get the right money? And by the way, the right money for Højlund is probably going to be somewhere between 30 and 40 mil. Now, you can laugh at me, but that's going to be the price that United are quoting. Because I believe, from a PSR perspective, if we don't sell him for around about that much, he goes down as a loss when we do sell him, which is just stupid. So I'm not surprised to hear that there's a possibility that United might start the new season now without a new striker. And I'd actually rather wait because we've got them. If we hadn't signed Cunha and Mbeumo, my position would be different. But we have. We've added a lot of Premier League goals and quality already. So I don't think there's a desperate need to go out and just make sure that we've got a striker for the start of the season in ways that I would have been had we not signed them, right? Someone down there saying, point taken, Sam, what about the results? What about the results? I know we've got a tough start to the season, but I don't think just having any old striker in would be any better than having Højlund in. Because that's what it would be. If you got someone in, by the looks of it, without sales, getting someone in by the 17th of August is simply just going to be a case of as cheap as possible. And I've seen this as, again, like, I don't get it, right? Nas down there saying, is Sesko the best option for us? Even if we had the money, Sesko was never the best option for us, personally. We can talk about the Stadium article. I've already got that lined up. That's coming later. You can see it by the title of the show. But we're speaking about transfers first. Gungshi, again, man. Lovely to see you. To see you? Nice. Gifting 10 memberships. Man, you are one lucky community. Gungshi, I hope that at one point in the future, when I do bring in that community manager and we do organise some meetups around the world, that I finally get to shake your hand. Because that would be awesome. Anyway, I'm seeing this for just coming out of Germany, saying, oh, Leipzig might be willing to drop their fee to 60 mil. What you mean? Because they've completely outpriced him for a move to Arsenal, who now have signed another striker. Liverpool have signed a striker. Newcastle, if they sell Isak, they'll need a striker potentially, so that's not impossible. Chelsea, well, they'll probably just sign anybody and everybody. That's I suppose, possible, but they've kind of priced out, oh, actually, we'll lower our demands. But even regardless of that, I'm not spending 60 mil on Sesko. I'm not. Call me foolish. I'd much rather Manchester United funneled that money into a goalkeeper and a central midfielder than I would spending 60 mil on Sesko. I just wouldn't do it. I don't think Watkins for me is a far better option. Far better option. We spoke about Watkins as an option quite a while ago, actually. Of course, it's price dependent because if Villa turned down 40 mil for Watkins in January from Arsenal and they actually want 60, they're never going to get 60, right? 80 mil for Jackson. Jeez, I'm not even talking about those before. Either way, I would rather United waited and see what happened with Højlund. And I think United are trying to sell Højlund. Now, that might be easier said than done, right? Especially when it's the bloody Italian clubs getting linked with him the most. I just don't trust Italian clubs to front the cash. Might be a bit harsh. But we've seen, who is it? Inter bidding 40 mil euros for Lookman from Atlanta. But then they don't have enough money to sign Højlund. No, they can only do it on loan. Oh, piss off. Someone down there saying Malacia to Celtic, a big Celtic fan pod said it's a goer. Let's find out. I've got absolutely zero bad blood towards Malacia, man. I think he's been so unlucky with his injuries, and I hope that he can just go somewhere, just enjoy playing football again, because have been a rough couple of years mentally for that lad. Really, really rough couple of years. Imagine like putting all that effort into the rehab to find out then you got to start the rehab again. Well, I'm only at, when did I have the surgery? February last year. So I'm 18 months into the rehab. It's not even rehab now. It's just my whole leg and my whole ankle is in a completely different position and I've still just got to get used to it. But I'm starting to be able to sort of lightly jog and not feel that my knee's collapsing. I never had one pain in my knee ever before. Ever. In either knee. But since that surgery, when the whole position has changed, all the weight distribution is completely different in my leg. So now there's so much weight going on the inside of my knee where it wasn't before. And now my knee is getting overworked. So the surgeon might have fixed one problem, but by doing so, he's created 4 others. It's the most unbalanced leg there's ever been in my entire life. Villa need to sell. Yeah, we already know that. But look, Xerxes feeling lean. Fran, there is not an update on the PO box just yet. Thank you for asking. I did get your email as well. Basically, Royal Mail are crap. Bombshell, I know. They ballsed up the whole PO box and only told me after I opened it that I can only accept parcels sent from the UK. Brilliant. Nice one, lads. It's good that you told me that after I've set it up. So I've got a couple of tabs open. I'm trying to find one that accepts deliveries from abroad and then delivers them to my address. That's what I'm trying to find, okay? But anyway, I might end up closing the Royal Mail box, getting a refund, and then starting again somewhere else. But I need to find out what about the stuff that's been sent there. It is very frustrating. Anyway, Xerxes definitely looking leaner, and I've already done a video where we discussed this. It definitely has been part of what these players were told to do in the off season, in terms of the conditioning programs. Just be fit enough to do whatever we're going to do, but do it for 90 minutes. Right? That's been a big issue for United. Even in games where we have like moments and 10, 15, 20-minute periods, we're like, oh, nice, playing well. We haven't been able to sustain it for 90 minutes. And that's down to largely fitness, athleticism. Right? I'm looking forward to seeing Xerxes. I've got no idea what to expect from Xerxes this season. I think he will be excited to work with Cunha and Mbeumo, but Xerxes we know will drop deeper. So if Xerxes does play in that sort of false 9 role and he drops deeper, does that mean, I suppose you're going to be looking for Mbeumo will make runs in behind for sure. Because Mbeumo, as much as he's great at cutting inside, is also very good at going on the outside. He can be a traditional winger if you need him to be, which is it's exciting. Steve, you're saying you sent something a week ago. Mate, look, I don't think all is lost. What I'm hoping has happened with the PO box is that everything's just been stuck at the collection office because there's been some sort of mismatch of the addresses, and that there's anything that should have been sent and delivered, it hasn't, and it's all just sitting in the local office and it just needs to be sent to me. That's what I'm hoping, but I don't know yet because I started an investigation into it last week. I've rang up again this week for an update. I still haven't been told anything, and it's very, very frustrating. How you doing, man? Beyond Fitness, you're saying, stick with it, Sam. I reached out to help your leg last year. It will take time. Keep going. Thanks very much for Super Chat, dude. I will keep going. And something that I've been working towards for a long time, and I think I've already mentioned this to you here. Quickly, I'm going to move on next, by the way, and speak about this new stadium stuff, right? Because there's some conversations that we need to have. But what I've basically, because I work so much and I'm fully committed to what I do and I love it and I wouldn't change it for the world, I always find it difficult to be able to fit exercise in and around it as much as I need to. So what I'm doing is building a gym in my back garden and probably using that as a studio in the future. It's going to be like dual purpose. That's the plan anyway. So I'm doing that and hopefully going to be starting that around September time. Maybe not. I don't know. Don't know the exact dates yet. But it's something I'm working towards. And when I do that, it will fit in a lot better in terms of my lifestyle with work and then balance with health and fitness. So I'm looking forward to it. That's what I'll tell you. Why not? Someone down there saying it's a strategy that no team is coming in for Garnacho. They want him at the end of the window. No one will drop the price. See, I thought that was going to be the case with Rashford. But I suppose it's different when it's online. Anyway. Yes, we're having a conversation about the new stadium, right? And this is the conversation that we're going to be having. This has come from Mike Keegan in the Daily Mail, right? So United's 4,000 a seat season ticket license. And this, basically what this is, it's off the back of this. I saw this a couple of weeks ago. Look, A few weeks ago, United invited supporters to apply to take part in discussions about the proposed stadium. This week, those sessions were held and some interesting details started to emerge. And this is off the back of that, right? And I'll explain what this means, right? What the hell is a bloody season ticket license? Effectively, and this is nuts, right? A season ticket license would be like an upfront payment that I think it says like 15, 30 years. Where is it? There you go. Under the system, which is often used in America to part fund new stadiums, fans who fork out for that season ticket license, no, it's not even a seat license, would then have first refusal on the seat for the next 30 years. So effectively, what it is it's not your season ticket. That's also on top of this. It's a license to be able to buy your season ticket. So it's like an extra level on top. It's like the first gate that you've got to walk through before you're allowed to buy a season ticket. And it's an American thing. Like, as much as I hate what state ownership has done to not just the Premier League, but just football in general, and the influx of that sort of money where there's not really a care in the world about making profit. It's just about prestige. It's just about winning. So the numbers have just gone nuts. The amount of American owners in the Premier League is a big ass problem because of the Americanization of football. If there's anybody from America watching, I'm not saying this in an offensive way, but that sport in America, for me, from the outside looking in, is entertainment first and sport second. It's the entertainment of the day. It's going to the tailgate. It's eating around it. It's all the shops around it. And like the social part of it is great. I understand that. But in terms of the actual sporting event itself, it's not really the most important. I know it actually is the most important part of the day, but it's not. It's the entertainment. It's everything around the game rather than the game itself. And Americans pay through the bloody nose for it. Like, we think it's expensive here. If I was to, I don't have any numbers off the top of my head, but I know if I did a little bit of research, I'll blow your mind. The amount of money that it costs to watch sport in America is nuts. Way, way more than it is in this country. And it sounds like they're trying to implement some of those rules. Not rules, but that culture. I mean, I don't really know how to describe it, but it's shite, right? If you were to just ask one simple question to Manchester United fans, do you want Manchester United to move to a new stadium if the fans end up paying for it? And you know what the answer to that would be. Like, unequivocally no. If Manchester United and Manchester United do, and I understand and I actually agree with the ambition of a new stadium, then find a way to fund it. You cannot ask like 4,000 a season. It's for £4,000 a seat, season ticket license. And it must be par for the course in America, right? Glenn, you're asking specifics about how the thing would. I have no idea about how it would work, dude. Right? Let's not get into the specifics of it here. Stu, you're saying I love going to the games, but for those prices, I'll save for someone else. You're paying for the experience, says Sean. Well, that's kind of what I mean. That's how football is going, or it has been going for quite a while now. It is about the experience. It's not about going to watch the game of football. It's about everything around the game of football, rather than the sport itself. It's the Americanization of sport. That's just the way I see it. I'm not saying that all sport is crap in America. I actually quite like NBA. I think if I was to choose an American sport, I'd choose NBA. But man, you must get exhausted watching like 86 games a season. If United are going to fund this new stadium, sell off the damn naming rights to it, man. Man United, you'll get absolute bucket loads of money for that. It will definitely be a world record naming rights deal. Like Spurs, you see like the talk about they're getting like $1 billion or something. I don't know whether that's true or not. But United can't fund it through. I mean, United will fund part of it through debt. It will be a debt. And I know debt is just as a grand word is an awful word for any United fan to hear, but debt won't be the same as a leveraged debt. It will be debt to pay for an asset that the club owns. Wouldn't surprise me if United did. How much would that even raise? What's it saying down here? United, let's read through the article a little bit. United are considering charging fans up to $4,000 purely for the right to buy a season ticket. Presented to fans by US-based consultants CSL International. Oh, what a surprise. It's an American firm who suggested that it happens. Column shocked. Is expected. Yeah, we already know how much it's going to cost. How much would it actually raise then? The seat license also gives you rights to concerts and events. Oh, it's cheap as anything. Buy 2 of them. Nah, can't agree with it. But this is, I suppose, a clever way of trying to get more money out of the same people. Is that a fair way to describe it? Or maybe clever might be the wrong word. But that's what it is. How can we charge the same fan twice? That's effectively the question. It's like, how can we raise money for this new stadium? Well, instead of charging people once, which you can, you'll raise the price of the season tickets anyway. Is there any way that we can charge the same person twice at different points in the transaction? That's what this is, right? Yes, Ibrahim, you get first choice of seeing Taylor Swift. That would be enjoyable. That wouldn't be. I was lying. Across 50k season ticket holders, it would raise 200 mil. Is that $4,000 times 50k? That's exactly what it is, Sam. That's probably why they're looking at it. I wonder how many season tickets are going to be in the new stadium. What's it, Old Trafford now? Is it about 50? I think it's about 50, isn't it? What else are you saying down here? Kevin saying it was one of a number of proposals. Not get too upset at this early stage. I'll run through some of what the other ones were, by the way. I remember reading this at the time. Now, don't crap yourself when it says here about up to 40% of the stadium's capacity could be allocated to hospitality. Because that's actually, I saw that got corrected. It's 40% of the stadium that isn't season ticket holders. So, for example, I don't know, let's say it's 50,000 season ticket holders, then it's 40% of the remaining 50,000, which would still be a lot. That'd be 20,000. Damn, you get so much money for that. Premium season ticket model, a new tier that would involve paying an additional premium on top of your standard season ticket. Benefit, it's basically like a paid loyalty pot. That's what it says there. It's a bit grim. Craig Donaldson going down here saying, 4K over 30 years isn't a lot. Mate, you're saying it's not that much? Yeah, all right. It is a lot. And try and find me any fan that's going to have an extra spare $4,000 to pay for a 30 years. Christ. Anyway, let's move on and let's speak about loans. I don't like the sound of that, but this is one of the creative ways that they're going to try and bring in more money to fund this new stadium. Some of it's going to be debt options. Some of it's going to be charging fans twice. I think a big portion of it should be coming from selling the stadium naming rights. That's an absolute given. That's going to be where United. I don't think it's an outrageous idea that Manchester United can raise £1 billion for the naming rights of that stadium. Let's say, using that same time frame, let's say even 30 years seems like a lot, but let's go for it. 30 years, Random point here, or question. Someone's getting angry. I didn't read his whole message. My bad. Yeah. Let me just go back up then, Craig. 4K over 30 years. While that isn't much, it's a lot up front to be in a queue to buy a season ticket. Still a shocking proposal. Yeah. 4K is a lot. How much do you think United could conceivably get for a 30-year naming rights proposal? Say it's 30 years. $1 billion would be quite cheap then. They'll be like, what, 33 million a season? Is that fair? I don't actually know. But off the top of my head, I don't know how much stadium naming rights have been at other stadiums. But that'll raise a lot of money. I really, really think that United should be able to raise $1 billion from the naming rights. So that means I need to raise $1 billion elsewhere. We've got going down here. What's all the exclusives, David Ornstein? Nothing from United. Rangers make a bid to sign Jesarun Raksaki from Crystal Palace. Fun fact. And he's saying, what happens if you pay that 4K but then stop buying a season ticket after a few years? You're locked in, man. You can still get tickets to go and see Little Mix, just in case they turn up. Someone down there saying at least 100 mil a season. I've got no idea what the most expensive stadium naming rights deal is. I think if you look at SoFi Stadium in LA, I think that'll be a good measure, right? Let's quit just out of curiosity. Now I want to quickly move on and speak about loan deals. SoFi Stadium naming rights deal. Have a look. What's AR telling me? The naming rights, a 20-year deal announced in 2019, valued at $625 million. So what's that? 30-ish? Wow, thereabouts. $30 million a year for the SoFi Stadium. United should be able to charge double that. And that's only a 20-year deal. It's an interesting one. I hope they don't do that season ticket thing, though. Wouldn't surprise me if they did, though. Would not surprise me if they did. Random question from MA. What do Barca get from Spotify? They get free premium accounts, family premium accounts for everybody. Lovely. Don't know what else they get. Chidi's saying oxygen license at £10 a minute. You laugh. It's £7 to piss in there, sir. Why? You won't have a shit? That's $24.99. $27.99 if you want toilet roll. You want double ply toilet roll? Wow, that's $37.99. You can have a toilet roll season ticket license, but you got to pay $3,000 a year up front. It's $6,000 a year if you want Andrex. All right. I mean, I'm laughing at all of this. These are conceivable things. Probably not. Maybe. I have no idea. Right. Let's quickly, to end the show, I want to speak about some loan deals. Congratulations to James Overy. He has just signed his first professional contract at Manchester United. 17-year-old. Now, you might not know about him much because he's had a lot of injuries. I think he joined from, was it Perth? Can't remember exactly where. Anyway, he hasn't played much because he had a lot of injuries. But congratulations to him for signing that deal. And also, I want to speak about some other deals that United are doing. There's been conversations about Radek Vitek. Could he be good enough to come in and be United's new goalkeeper? Well, he's not on tour, and United are going to be sending him out on loan again. Ethan Wheatley sending him out on loan again is also the correct thing to do. I still personally feel that Ethan Wheatley is going to have a pretty damn solid career in the Football League, but I don't think it's going to be at Manchester United. Don't really get the point of sending Ethan Wheatley out on loan again, though. Kind of the same with Radek Vitek. If they're not going to be part of Manchester United's plans, then we should be selling them this summer with the sell-on clause, right? Feels kind of a little bit silly to be sending both of them out on loan again. I don't know. And we actually didn't we call Ethan Wheatley? No, Was he on loan at Walsall? Wasn't the best loan spell, but then he could also play for United under 21s at the same time. It's a bit weird. It's a bit weird. But also on top of that, look at these, right? United are exploring the loan exits of Harry Amas, Jack Morehouse, Ethan Wheatley, Ethan Williams, and Radek Vitek. And Morehouse is close to joining Leyton Orient. I think that'll be a good loan spell for him. I like that. You know what? I just, as much as League Two football and National League football, clearly it's going to be better for the progression of these players to be playing that every week rather than just, like sitting in United's under 18s or under 21s. I understand that. But United's players should be going on loan to League One and Championship teams. It's what I've always felt. Jack Morehouse, great ball carrier. Sort of, had we not signed Cunningham and Boomer, there might be a little bit of a pathway for him, but there isn't now. So I like the idea of him going on loan to Leyton Orient. Harry Mass, we know because he's not on the pre-season tour. He needs to go on loan to the Championship. Definitely needs to go on loan to the Championship. Ethan Williams has actually gone on tour. Maybe a little bit of an opportunity for him. Maybe because Shea Lacey got injured. Not quite sure. But Radek Vitek, if we're going to loan him out again, we may as well sell him. Ethan Wheatley, if we're going to loan him out again, we may as well sell him. That's why I think so. Alex saying, apparently Vitek's going to Sturm Graz. Don't know. I'm guessing you mean Sturm Graz rather than Saturn Graz. But maybe there's another thing there. Is Kai Rooney still in United's academy? He is. I think he's in the under 16s now. I think so. I think Carrick's lad's going to be playing with the under 18s this season. It's cool. Remember, of course, you've got Jack Fletcher on tour. You've got Tyler Fletcher, who'll be playing with the under 21s this season. Jonah's saying, I'm glad you aren't managing the loans. Well, you can go. It's Johnny Evans. And that's what I think. I don't really understand why Ethan is still at the club. It's obvious that the pathway isn't there for him. So just sell the lad, include a sell-on clause, and just let him go on with his career, right? I'm going to wrap that up for today. I think, this conversation that's crap, isn't it? At a time where it's mad timing, isn't it? I could repeat this again and again, but at a time where we're cutting 400 members of staff and redundancies everywhere and cuts everywhere and can't go after the players that we want to sign because we haven't got any money, we're then going to be building the biggest stadium project that there's ever been. Ever? If it's 2 billion, would that be the most expensive stadium ever? Well, certainly in the UK, but I don't know about ever. It just doesn't match up. Hence why we're talking about season ticket seat licenses, stuff like that. Can I just say a big thank you to everyone for getting involved. If you can, drop a like on the video. Make sure, if you're new here, please do subscribe because you'll see cracking videos, if I do say so myself, like this bad boy, which we released yesterday. If you haven't seen it, check it out, right? Stop pretending to build a stadium and get a striker. It's all PR spin. United aren't building a stadium. It's all there just so United fans can't say anything about us not signing a striker. That's a funny idea. I'm joking. Right. Thank you all. I'll see you at lunchtime today. And yeah, take it easy.